Make sure we're all up and running here. Sorry, it's just me again. You'll have to deal with it. Okay, we are live on Periscope. Let's see if we're live on Facebook. And 100 megabyte connections don't get you what they used to. We are live on Facebook, and let's make sure that we are live on YouTube. And we're live on YouTube, so what do you know? It actually works. I'm assuming that you all can hear me, and I hope that you can. You may have noticed that it is not Thursday, and it is nowhere near 1 p.m. It is actually creeping up on 8:30 Eastern time here in cold South Florida. As I say, it's about to break 60 degrees, so to us, that's pretty cold. This is a pop-up episode, or what we're calling a pop-up episode. We will continue to have our regular scheduled programmed every Thursday at 1 p.m. When we have a full episode, it'll kind of be planned out, and it'll be a lot more formal than this. As you kind of see, I'm kind of dressed down in my Mark Zuckerberg hoodie, but still rocking my country short hat, which again, we do thank them for sponsoring all of our episodes, including the pop-up. And you may hear some growling going on in the background as there's a 3-month-old puppy wrestling with a slightly larger dog. Anyway, the pop-up episode is going to be less planned, and it's more about if anything happens in our day-to-day that we think is relevant to this program or to you, the listeners, we'll jump on really quickly and just sort of talk about it. It may not be 20 minutes long, but we think it might be useful to you all, and it may just be me, it just may be Derry, it may just be some random stranger, it may be me, Derry, and a random stranger. It could get pretty weird. Anyway, the thing that was interesting, or at least that I thought was interesting this week, was at the gym, where a lot of stories, which is the nexus for a lot of stories, and usually they're not as meaningful as this. Usually they're a lot of time wasters and conversations that you want to get out of as quickly as possible. However, this time, a gentleman whom I've known for a while knows that we are a software company, so he asked me about pricing. And he was trying to get a simple e-commerce, or he didn't say simple, but an e-commerce site set up, and was just kind of asking me how much something like that would cost. And so I explained to him that generally we don't just do e-commerce site setups. We may do them as part of a larger deal, but generally we don't just do one-off type small e-commerce setups. And he was a little bit shocked because he didn't think it was small. And I explained to him that in today's world, there are so many very good platforms for building an e-commerce site or a storefront that they make it so easy to set it up that really it's most e-commerce jobs are small. And so what I mean by that is any good e-commerce platform will allow you to be taking payments right off rip. It'll allow you to add products right off rip very easily. They'll even provide you with hundreds, if not thousands, of templates for you to choose from. The last one is where people kind of start to get hung up. When they hear that word template, they kind of blush back. Or, I don't want a template. We are in the age of design for with the web, where templates are a very good thing. And let me step back and say why people don't think that templates are a good thing. Clients don't want to hear the word template because they want to be unique. They want their design to be different than everyone else's. That's a bad thing. You want your designs to be different for sure, but you want your designs to be familiar or comfortable to anyone who comes to your site. You don't want a user to come to your site and not know how to use the site. There's a reason that every stop sign looks the same. It's because every user who sees a stop sign knows what it means. This is why there are common elements to a web design, like a nav bar, a footer, headlines are bigger, things like that. So using a template is a good thing because it conforms to the norms and expectations that users have when they come to a website. So Again, that doesn't mean it doesn't have to be different. What you're using to differentiate yourself is your content and your branding. So what differentiates Nike from Reebok is not so much their design. It's if you go to their sites, they're pretty much the same. Nike has different content. They have different videos. They have really cool videos. They have really cool photos. They have good athlete testimonials. These are the things that set apart websites, not the actual design, but the actual content. Same thing with the Nike swoosh and their branding colors. That's what sets them apart from Reebok, not where their sidebars are located in the design structure. So having that aside, taking care of that aside, these e-commerce platforms will provide these and basically what you have to do is add your content, your product testimonials, your photos, the things that will actually differentiate yourself. So that's not part of the web design process. That's not what you use a web developer or web designer for. That's what you're actually, that's when you're actually going out and you're getting content. You're having a photographer take photos. You're having a videographer shoot video. You're doing all these things to create that content. And regardless of who it is, they can't actually, the designer isn't going to create that content for you. You have to create that content. You have to have someone else go and create this content. To use another example, right now I am creating content. I'm creating content that only I can create. I can't go hire someone from India to talk about Gunner Technology because only I can do that, or only someone within Gunner Technology can do that. So all this a roundabout way of saying that the things that a designer or developer provide for an e-commerce platform are pretty much already done. So he's sitting there, and this conversation is taking a lot longer than he probably would have liked, but he's very grateful that I'm taking my time out to explain this to him. And so he says, okay, so how much would you charge me to set up an e-commerce platform? I know you don't really just do that, but if your company were, how much would you charge? And so, I was saying, well, there's some discrepancies in there. Like, do you want us to add the products for you, or do you want us to show you how to add the products and then you add them? So there's a little bit of a range in there, but I'm thinking around, and then again, you're going to have to pay the hosting fee for the e-commerce platform. E-commerce platforms will charge you a monthly fee to host your website and to use their payment processors and things like that. So, I said probably. I'll end up charging you like $500 to set it up. And he like almost choked. And I was like, well, is that more or less than you're thinking? He's like, that's way less than I was thinking. And I was like, well, there's going to be a monthly charge also from the provider, but we don't take a cut from that. We just put it straight to you. And he basically said that is way, way, way lower than I was told. And I said, well, what were you told? And he's like, in like the $10,000 range. And I was like, well, who told you that? And I don't mean specifically what company told you that, but was it a software engineer? Was it a software company, or was it a web design company? It's like, well, it's a guy who does web design. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And so here's the difference that you have to kind of know when you're going to a web design company versus a software engineering or software development company. Like I said, I'm not trying to make any money off of an e-commerce platform. If we are building an e-commerce platform, if we are putting together an e-commerce platform for people, we're just basically setting up using the platform tools that already exist. Where we want to make our money is on the back end. And what I mean by that is we want to get you up and running and using using the e-commerce platform, and then discover shortcomings of the process that you want us to solve. For example, we want to get you up and running and selling products. We want to get you up and running and selling a lot of products if that's what you're selling from your e-commerce platform. So much so that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm selling so much. The order fulfillment process is a nightmare. I'm having to take these orders. I'm having to, manually fill out an order form and ship them on to the customer. Well, we want to say, okay, that's a good problem to have, but we can automate that for you. We can write custom software that doesn't exist as part of the e-commerce platform off the bat. We can write custom software to make the process easier of managing your e-commerce store. Same thing, we can write custom software that will help identify aspects of your customers for your marketing efforts. So we don't want to make we don't want to, and we don't make money off of setting up the e-commerce platform. We want that to be the start of a larger relationship that we can write custom software for as you grow. So basically our success is tied to your success because we have that ability to write custom software. If you look at a web design company, generally speaking, they're going to make their money on the front end. They don't have the ability to say, well, we can automate your ordering process, or we can automate customer identification or lead identification for you. So once they're done setting up the e-commerce platform, they can manage it for you. They can add products and things like that. But again, the platforms themselves make that so easy, you don't really need someone to do that. So once the web designer's job is done, their contract is over. You're probably not going to grow with that web designer unless you want to change the visual appearance of your store, but they're not going to actually expand the technology behind it. So they do want to make money on the front end because there is no back end for them. So it's a little bit different, and that's why you'll see large pricing swings in terms of a web design company versus a software development company. And sometimes it benefits you to go with the web design company, and sometimes it benefits you to go with the software development company. In the case of an e-commerce store, especially if it's not just going to be a one-time thing. Because again, if you just come to me and say, I want an e-commerce store and that's it, we're never going to use anything else, we're never going to use you again, I'm not going to be interested because we're not making any money from it. But if you want this to be part of a larger relationship, then certainly that is the better option to go with a software development firm rather than a web design company. So I hope that made sense to you. I thought it was a very interesting question. And as we go along, we're going to get into a lot of different items that affect pricing, but that is certainly a big one. And I did want to touch on a couple of reminders before I get out of here. Number one, make sure you head to our Facebook page and enter the contest, which is just providing your email address to get in on our swag giveaway. We haven't decided what we're going to give away, but we are going to give away some sort of country shore gear because they are our sponsors. Again, all you have to do is go give us your email address so we can actually get in touch with you when we pick a winner. We'll announce the winner on our Thursday show. What else to talk about? Oh, yes, we have our ebook coming out on JavaScript very soon on Amazon and iTunes and wherever online books are sold. Look for our blog post coming out tomorrow, which we talk about cryptocurrency. And I think that's it. I hope the dogs barking in the background weren't too much of an annoyance. But again, this is casual pop-up episodes. And please let us know if you have any ideas for an episode that you'd like to do like to see for a pop-up. Any sort of questions we can expand upon, we'll be glad to kind of jump in here as we can and answer those questions. All right. Well, I hope you all have a good night, and I'll see you Thursday at 1 p.m. for our full episode.